dijo Nolo. Y fue cuando lo pusieron con un abogado, pero pues como ahorita está aceptando culpabilidad y ya lo pusieron como Nolo, pues nomás quiere hacer todo lo que tiene que hacer para ya.
Él dijo, él estuvo presente virtualmente cuando dijo ese Nolo o en persona.
En persona, estábamos aquí en persona.
¿Cómo se? Okay, you hear all that, Mr. Merrill, that he was here and when he was going to plead, he said Nolo, but somehow the audio wasn't good. It was cut off from the camera or whatever. And then he was assigned an attorney, but then because now he's going to plead Nolo, then he's just going to do it without an attorney. ¿Pero le pusieron abogado o no le pusieron abogado?
No.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I was kind of concerned about that. So here's the thing. We need to, because of such a serious charge and because of the potential immigration issues that might come of this, he needs to talk to, let's see if we can just put him with Jason. We won't accept the Nolo plea now. If we can get him with Jason Kessler, and Jason can put him on the next trial calendar. And if he wants to continue with the Nolo at that point, I just want him to be completely informed before he does so. And Jason may have a chance to talk between now and the next court date so that we can, if there's anything that can be done.
Okay, so you want him to contact Mr. Kessler and then...
So at this point, I can only suggest. I can't tell him that's what he has to do.
Oh, but you want to give him the chance. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Como este es un caso bastante serio, no se sabe las implicaciones que puede traer en inmigración, el fiscal dice que lo va a poner para la próxima lista de casos y recomienda que hable con un abogado. Se le puede dar el nombre de un abogado que usamos aquí, que es el señor Kessler. Y la próxima vez que usted venga, si usted de todos modos quiere declararse nulo, entonces se le va a aceptar, pero por ahora, por cuestiones de que usted tenga tiempo para que pueda averiguar cómo puede esto influenciar o impactar su situación migratoria, es preferible que hable con un abogado y vamos a pasar su caso para la próxima lista de casos.
Tell him he has to fill out another court-appointed attorney request.
Tiene que llenar otra solicitud para pedir que se le nombre un abogado de oficio.
And since I don't know what happened the last time he requested an attorney.
Porque no sé qué pasó la última vez que usted pidió un abogado.
Ms. Yates or Ms. Green, do you guys have any indication that he requested an attorney the last time?
Le está preguntando al secretario si hay alguna...
I don't see anything currently.
No, que no tienen nada reciente de que usted haya solicitado abogado.
Okay, so let's ask if he wants to see if he can qualify for a court-appointed attorney.
¿Usted quiere ver si califica para un abogado defensor público?
Como usted es para su estatus migratorio, pues no le llega a afectar. No sé usted.
I cannot really hear that.
No sé qué es eso.
Un abogado.
Sí, pero...
And I think, and I don't know who the young lady is, but I think I heard her say that because of his immigration status that they won't accept him, but it has nothing to do with his immigration status.
No tiene nada que ver con la situación migratoria de él, simplemente que este caso, el fiscal está actuando de una manera previsiva, porque este caso, como está ahorita, pudiera afectar su situación migratoria, entonces por eso hay que buscar, o sea, se recomienda buscar la asistencia de un abogado.
No, está bien.
¿Quiere ver si califica para un abogado defensor público?
No.
¿Sí? Yes, he wants to see if he can qualify for a public defender.
Okay, Ms. Green, can you give him an application? And
Yes.
I guess the young lady can help him go through it because I don't believe we have him.
Okay.
But she can help him go through it, and then we'll reset him. Actually, no, he's got to hang around because wait, does the judge normally qualify them in person, or does he just wait?
We send him the application and he will approve it and then we'll send it to Kessler.
Okay. So when he fills that out, then he can be released, correct?
Yes.
Okay, entonces, go ahead, Ms. Green, I'm sorry.
Then go ahead, we're done.
Si usted ahorita le van a dar un documento que es la solicitud para que le asignen un abogado defensor público, lo puede llenar con la ayuda de la señorita al lado. Entonces se lo entregan a la señorita, a la secretaria, para que el juez después lo revise y si lo aprueba, entonces se le va a dar su nombre al abogado Jason Kessler, que es el que utilizan en este tribunal, para que se comunique con usted y usted sea su abogado defensor público. ¿Entendió?
Sí.
Ok.
So yeah,
Y
they
de,
seat and Ms. Green will give them the paperwork.
ok, pueden sentarse hasta que la secretaria le dé el documento, después que ustedes llenen el documento se lo entregan a ella, ella le dice que se puede ir, se puede ir. Ok.
All right, so
There was a witness on that case, Marlene Delgado, and she's online.
Oh, you want me to tell, what do you want me to tell her, Mr. Mary Rose?
we can bring her in and tell her we're gonna reset that matter for him to, well, just let her know we'll reset it and we'll send another subpoena out for her to be, if it's gonna go to trial.
Ms. Delgado?
Señorita Delgado, ¿necesita intérprete o usted habla inglés?
No, I speak English.
Ok.
All right, Ms. Delgado, the case that you're on with Mr. Tiscareno is gonna be reset. There's some things that he has to do before he comes back. We're going to contact you with the next court date, trial date, if he's gonna go forward with the trial. If he enters a plea, of course, we will not be reaching out to you, but if he goes forward with the trial, we'll let you know so you can log on for the trial on Zoom, okay?
Okay, no problem.
All right, so you can be released and maybe we'll see you again, maybe not.
Okay,
All right, have a good day.
you too.
All right, so let's do this. Ms. Green, who do you have in the courtroom?
I have, Miss Renee Heaton.
Can you have her come up? We're just gonna see what
Renee,
proceeding with their case. You said the last name,
page 2.
Eden, okay, I got you. All right, it's 8:24. Ms. Heaton, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, fine, how you doing?
All right, you have a failure to yield a right of way. This was an accident case. What is your plea to that charge, ma'am?
I pleaded not guilty.
All right, so we're not guilty on that one. Is Ms. Payton, can you guys see if Mr. Estrada is, or if Mr. Jesus Garcia Salazar is in the waiting room?
You have 1 second.
Sure.
When as it was in court.
No, they not, it's, I got.
Ms. Galaxy Note 9?
Do you want me to make an announcement in Spanish?
Yes, please.
Ok. La persona que se encuentra con un teléfono de Galaxy, por favor, déjenos saber quién es. Buenos días, el señor Jesús García Salazar está presente, déjenos saber. Active su micrófono para saber que se encuentra presente. Jesús García Salazar, active su micrófono si está presente. So, ¿quién es la persona que tiene el teléfono Galaxy Note 9?
I guess that's not them. Thank you, Ms. Ada.
Okay, you're welcome.
They are hooked up to audio, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Galaxy Note 9. Miss, first of all, we can't see your face. All we see is a New York hat on. And you do have to take that hat off to be present in court. Ma'am, you're on mute. Take yourself off mute. Still, there you go. All
Yes, sir. This is Officer James.
Officer James.
Yes,
Officer,
sir.
can you change your
I'm changing it.
oh, okay, no worries, Miss Yates is doing. All right, and Officer James, you know that once we start going through the case, you gotta take that hat off, right?
Okay.
For now, you can cut your camera off. We're gonna call you up when we need you, but when we call you up, if we need you. So let's go back to Miss Hedden. Miss Hedden, it doesn't seem like we have the witness in that case present. If you have a seat, we're going to verify that they did not come on. If that's the case, then your case will be dismissed for want of prosecution, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, how are you?
Good. We're just going through the cases that are the people who are present in the courtroom real quick to see what the status on those cases are.
Okay,
If you want to continue with that process.
all right, is Ms. Green?
I am.
All right, can you tell me, is there anyone else remaining in the courtroom on the trial calendar?
Yes, Miss Yolanda Lopez.
All right,
And the witness, Miss Whitaker, is also here.
okay. And what is Ms. Lopez's plea to this charge?
What's your plea?
Not guilty.
Okay.
Not guilty.
Okay, Ms. Lopez, we will call your case momentarily for trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you'll please have a seat, thank you. All right, you want to call the next person, Ms. Green?
That's it for the courtroom.
Okay,
So Judge, at this point, we can go ahead and just let the people into the,
Q,
to see who is moving forward with their case. So we do have a
wonderful.
couple of announcements with officers.
Do
Either,
we have any announcement for any of the cases? Okay, I'll just wait.
yes, sir.
If we can go ahead and admit everyone to the queue, Ms. Yates and Ms. Payton.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Doing just fine.
I got it.
As you come into the Forest Park Trial Court queue, please make sure that your device is muted.
Buenos días. Mientras se mete a la sesión virtual, asegúrese que su aparato está en silencio, que tiene el micrófono apagado.
Also, please type your full name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
También asegúrese de que coloque su número, escribe su nombre completo y su correo electrónico y lo manda a FPMC.
Again, type your full name and your email address into the chat and send it to FPMC.
De nuevo, escriba su correo electrónico y su nombre en el chat y se lo manda a FPMC.
This is the Forest Park Municipal Court Trial Division.
Esta es,
Go ahead, Ms. Ivy.
esta es la división del Tribunal de Forest Park aquí de tránsito.
There are a few rules of court that I want to outline to you.
Hay unas reglas aquí cuando estamos haciendo versión virtual que quiero explicarles a ustedes.
First, please allow 3 hours for this court session.
Por favor, primero y principal, tiene que tener el tiempo de 3 horas para que se pueda llevar a cabo esta sesión.
Please ensure that your video stays on at all times.
Asegúrese que su video está prendido todo el tiempo.
Please ensure that there are no distractions in your background.
Asegúrese que no haya distracciones en el trasfondo.
Please ensure that there are no hats or other objects on your head unless they are there for religious reasons.
Y asegúrese, por favor, de que no lleve puesto ningún tipo de sombreros ni de cuestiones en la cabeza, a menos de que sean por cuestiones religiosas.
Please understand that these proceedings are recorded via video and audio.
Entienda de que este proceso se está grabando en video y en audio.
And because court is a public session,
Y como esto de las sesiones de aquí de este tribunal son sesiones públicas,
it is very important that you conduct yourself properly during this court session.
es muy importante que usted tenga un comportamiento apropiado durante esta sesión de esta sala de justicia.
If for any reason you violate any of the rules of court,
Si por alguna razón usted incumple con todas estas reglas que tenemos aquí que le acabo de explicar,
your virtual session will be terminated.
se le va a terminar o se le va a sacar de la sesión virtual.
and you will be required to come down to the courthouse.
Y se le va a exigir que venga en persona al tribunal a este tribunal.
Understand that virtual court is provided as a convenience to you.
Entienda que participar en una sesión virtual se le está ofreciendo como algo conveniente para usted.
Therefore, it is very important that everyone comply.
Por lo tanto, es muy importante que todos cumplan con estas reglas.
When you hear your name called,
Cuando usted oiga su nombre,
please unmute your device
por favor, active su micrófono
and announce your plea.
y diga cómo se declara.
Your plea will be
Su declaración puede ser una de las siguientes:
not guilty,
no culpable,
guilty,
culpable,
or nolo contendere.
o no disputo los cargos, nolo.
You previously entered a not guilty plea at the time of arraignment,
Durante la lectura de cargos anteriormente, usted se declaró no culpable
and requested that your case be set down for a bench trial in Forest Park.
y usted pidió que se le fijara el caso para un caso con un juicio ante el juez en el tribunal de Forest Park.
If you have changed your plea to guilty or nolo,
Si usted ha cambiado de parecer y o se quiere declarar culpable o nolo,
please notify the court when your name is called.
por favor dígale aquí al juez cuando digan su nombre.
If you would still like to go forward with your trial,
Si todavía quiere proceder con el juicio,
simply announce not guilty.
simplemente diga no culpable.
Let me restate to you your rights.
Déjeme decirle de nuevo cuáles son sus derechos.
First and foremost, you are presumed innocent.
Primero y principal, usted tiene la presunción de inocencia.
It is the city's burden to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
La carga la tiene la fiscalía de comprobar su culpabilidad más allá de todo razonable.
You have the right to a trial,
Tiene derecho a tener un juicio
and you have the right to be represented by an attorney if you had requested
usted
to.
tiene derecho a ser representado por un abogado si usted pidió que lo representara un abogado.
Prior to today, you could have requested for court-appointed counsel, or you could have hired private counsel.
Anteriormente, antes de hoy, usted hubiese podido contratar un abogado particular o ver si calificaba para un abogado de oficio antes del día de hoy.
When the trials begin,
Cuando comience el juicio,
the city has the burden of proof,
la fiscalía tiene la carga de probar,
must prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
tiene que probar su culpabilidad más allá de una duda razonable.
You have the right to confront and question every witness,
Usted tiene derecho de carear y de hacerle preguntas contra interrogar a cada testigo
that is called against you.
que lo llaman a testificar en su contra.
You also have the right at the appropriate time to present evidence on your own behalf.
También tiene derecho en el momento que corresponde de que usted presente pruebas a su favor.
You had the right before today
You have the right, tiene el derecho antes de hoy
to subpoena to court
de citar aquí en la sala
the attendance of witnesses
la asistencia de testigos
and the production of documents.
y que se le divulgaran las pruebas.
If you are experiencing audio problems,
Si tiene problemas con el audio,
simply log out and log back in.
simplemente sálgase de la versión y métase de nuevo.
If you continue to experience any connectivity problems,
Si continúa teniendo problemas de conectividad,
you simply need to come down to the courthouse for an in-person proceeding.
simplemente tiene que venir en persona al tribunal para que se haga un proceso en persona.
I'm going to call the calendar,
Voy a llamar a la lista de casos
and when you hear your name called, if you will simply announce your plea,
y cuando usted oiga su nombre simplemente diga cómo se declara.
which will be not guilty,
Lo que puede escoger entre decidir si va a ser no culpable,
guilty,
culpable
or nolo contendere if you are eligible.
o no lo disputa si usted califica para que se le otorgue el no lo disputa.
Alexa Brereton. Alexa Brereton. FTA. Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown. FTA. Oxigba Cogerson,
Not guilty.
thank you. Eric Council,
Not guilty.
thank you. Is Lakeisha Pillard available? Is Chantella Cephas? Chantella Cephas. Cameron? All right, are you here as a witness in this case?
Yeah.
All right, Cameron Milton.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, I need for you to turn your video on, Mr. Milton. This case will be called for trial momentarily. Joshua Curry. Joshua Curry, FTA. William Gillum. William Gillum.
Ms. Renee.
I see him, but he's not sounding. Renee Heaton.
She's here, Your Honor.
That's
All
an aye.
right, and Jesus Garcia Salazar. Jesus Garcia Salazar. And
Jesús,
what is
Gar-
this?
Jesús García Salazar, si está presente, por favor, active su micrófono.
And what is Miss Heaton's plea?
It was not guilty, Judge. She's present in court. I did
Okay,
indicate to her that we would sound out for the witness one more time because we did previously and nobody announced, so the city would be moving to dismiss.
all right, let's let Ms. Heaton know that this charge is being dismissed for warrant of prosecution.
Thank you.
And that if the city receives new evidence within the next 6 months, they do have the right to reinstate these charges. But as of right now, they have been dismissed.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We've already sounded for Yolanda Lopez, Fred
And
Manning.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Officer Estrada is here with me. He was having some technical issues.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Judge, what was the announcement on Yolanda?
Yolanda Lopez entered a not guilty plea and the witness is here.
Witness is here, okay.
And the officer is here. All right. Fred Manning,
No loan, sir.
thank you. Mr. Manning, do you understand that by entering into the note, first of all, is Mr. Manning eligible for a no vote plea?
Yes, he is.
Mr. Manning, do you understand that by entering into the no vote plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes.
Sir, do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Sir, are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the plea?
Yes.
All right. Have you typed your name and your email address in the chat?
Yes.
Can we confirm that we have Mr. Manning's email information?
Yes, we do.
All right, is this the first time of a possession of marijuana charge that you all can see on his record?
Stand by.
This is what I'm talking about.
Mr. Manning, assuming this is the first possession of marijuana charge, the total fine for all 3 violations is $555. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
I better pay in 2 weeks, sir.
All right. Let me confirm that this is the first time, and that will be the sentence of the court. Let me wait to hear from Ms. Yates. Ms. Yates, I'll keep going, and once you get that information, just let me know. Hang on, Mr. Manning, I'll be right back with you.
Thank you.
Jerry Marcelin. Jerry Marcelin. Unmute, Mr. Marcelin.
Yes, not
What
guilty,
is
Your
your plea, sir?
not guilty, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anthony, you can mute back, sir. Anthony Mason. Anthony Mason. FTA. Jonathan Middlebrooks.
Not guilty.
Jonathan Middlebrooks.
Not guilty.
Thank you. Is Pedro Gonzalez Padilla?
Pedro González Padilla se encuentra presente. Por favor, active su micrófono. Pedro González Padilla.
Pedro Gonzalez Padilla. Does the city have an announcement in the Jonathan Middlebrooks matter? The witness is not sounding.
Yes, Your Honor, the city.
Well, excuse me, Mr. Middlebrooks, you're charged with an expired tag. Is this
Yeah,
something
you know-
we can go forward with the officer? At least that's what's on the docket.
Yeah, you know, the last time I was in court, it was about the accident, but this time it's supposed to be about the tag, which was in my car.
That's fine, but if you were driving a car that had an expired tag, sir, you do understand you can be charged. Do you
I
have the
understand.
owner of the vehicle with you today?
Nah, it's my mom, but it was insurance on the tag.
Judge, I think we could probably resolve all of this. The city's gonna move to dismiss that charge for warrant of prosecution also.
All right, Mr. Middlebrooks, the city is dismissing this charge for warrant of prosecution, sir. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
All right, can we confirm that we have Mr. Middlebrooks' information?
Yes, we
I-
do have it.
Okay.
I didn't hear what you all said.
Yes, we have it, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Middlebrooks, we have your information. You will receive your plea form to which you will enter a not guilty plea. Send that back through DocuSign. You'll receive it by close of business tomorrow, and thereafter you will receive your dismissal. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, you can disengage and thank you.
All right.
Lalani Narali,
No, not guilty.
thank you. Is Kenu Lee available? Or Kenu Lee? Kenu Lee. Does the city have an announcement in this, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, the city would move to dismiss for warrant of prosecution, Judge.
All right, Mr. Narali, the city is moving to dismiss this case for warrant of prosecution. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat, sir?
Yes, sir, I already sent the email address and my name.
Can we confirm that, Ms. Yates or Ms. Payton?
Judge Freeman, there's a Laura Murray that's on the line that's a witness for this case.
Okay, Laura Murray. Okay. I have is there someone else? Because that's not the name I have written on my docket.
There, she was added this morning.
Okay, Ms. Murray,
Yes,
all right, you're here on the Narali Lalani matter?
yes,
Okay, Mr. Lalani, Mr. Narali, we do have a witness. We will go forward with the trial on this matter momentarily, sir.
Judge, may I inquire as to that particular witness? Is that witness in the incident report, Ms. Yates or Ms. Green?
One second.
And the reason, Judge, is if she wasn't listed as a witness in the incident report, I don't think we can get any testimony from that person. If the other person that's listed as a witness was on there, I think that then becomes the issue.
Well, I'll keep
I
going
see.
and we'll,
I see a Laura Edwin as a witness one, and she's in the narrative.
all right, so we'll call that case for trial momentarily. Jenny Pedroza. Jenny Pedroza,
That was paid, Judge.
thank you. Freddie Render. Freddie Render. FTA. Devin Riley. Devin Riley. Is Tia Eaglin. Devin Riley is not here, that'll be FTA. Vanessa Sagara,
I'm here.
Please, Ms.
what is your plea, Ms. Sagara?
she's not Miss Cigar, I'm Miss Cigar, and my
Yes,
plea,
what is your plea, Ms. Sagara?
not guilty.
Thank you.
Judge, can we go back to Riley, Devin Riley?
Yes,
I thought I saw Tia Eaglin on the.
Yes, I'm present.
Yes, I don't think that Mr. Riley is here.
Right, can we go ahead and release her as a witness since
We can, Miss Eaglin?
Yes.
Mr. Riley is not here and FTA will be issued for him. Once we get a new court date, then we will notify you accordingly, but I don't want to have you just holding on this entire session, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
So you can disengage, thank you.
Thank you.
Alexis Smedley. Alexis Smedley.
I'm here.
Ms. Smedley, what is your plea to the charge?
Not guilty.
You said not guilty, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. We'll call this case for trial momentarily. Alberto Tiscarino.
That case is going to be reset.
Thank you. Nikayla Williams. Or Nikayla Williams. Nikayla Williams. All right, that case is FTA. All right, let's go back to, do we have an announcement in the? I think one of the cases we were determining if he had a previous marijuana charge, Mr. Manning.
This is not his first possession of marijuana, Your Honor.
All right, how long ago was the other one?
2014.
All right, it's outside of 5 years. Okay. That just bumps the fine up to 360. Mr. Manning,
Yes, sir.
rather than the fine being $555, sir, it's $735. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, or do you need to pay this while being on probation?
I'll be able to pay in 2 weeks, sir. Just
All
send
right.
me what.
And again, you have typed your name and email address in the chat, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we have his information, Ms. Yates and Ms. Payton?
Yes, we do.
All right, then, Mr. Manning, you can disengage. You will receive your plea form through your email no later than close of business tomorrow. Enter a no-low plea. After you have received that, you will receive your 2-week agreement. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Please make sure that you comply with the 2-week agreement and pay the sum of $735. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. You can disengage from the call.
All right, thank you, sir. Happy New Year.
All right, take care. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, which case would you like to call first?
Judge, I have Osegba Cokerson first.
Yes.
That's Officer Lewis's case.
All right.
And let's see, Officer Lewis is on here. Can we check on?
If you all will hold 1 second, I'm gonna take a 1-minute break.
Oh, there he is. Okay, I got you, Officer Lewis. I didn't see you on the screen at first. We're gonna do yours first, all right?
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't know that was you.
Judge,
I'm in court. I'm coming up. All right.
Judge, you're not on mute.
I just muted him.
Sir, am I free to go? I had the Lamont Kevin Brown.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so that was the FTA. That was the only one you had, Officer James?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no, you're good.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Have
you.
a great day.
Was there any other officers that their cases were FTAs? They didn't have anybody else? Let me go through this.
134 checking.
Careful.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Prosecutor, I'm ready to rock and roll with Ms. Cokerson. Ms. Cokerson, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth? And where is Officer Lewis?
He's on the call, Judge.
All right, Officer Lewis, thank you. Do you both swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, wonderful. Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and proceed?
Give me 1 second, Judge. I lost
That's
it.
okay. Take your time.
All right, Judge. Ms. Cokerson is before the court because on March 26th of 2022, she received a citation, which was a stop sign violation. Officer Lewis issued that citation. Officer Lewis, on the date in question, do you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Cokerson?
Yes.
Was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
On March 26, 2022, while sitting stationary at Pine Ridge and Alder, I observed a white and colored vehicle come to the four-way. The vehicle failed to make a complete stop at the posted stop sign. I made contact with the vehicle from the rear, activated my emergency blue lights, made contact with the driver, and issued her a citation for failing to make a complete stop at the posted stop sign.
Okay, and I think you testified that you were stationary at that location when you observed the infraction. Is that correct?
Correct.
And at any time, was your view obstructed of the vehicle Ms. Cokerson was driving and or the stop sign that she ran through?
No, sir.
And when you made contact with her and explained to her why you were pulling her over, did she make any statements that you can recall?
Not that I can recall.
Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right, Ms. Cokerson, you've heard the testimony of the officer. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask him?
No, I don't.
Excuse me, can I get you to speak up?
No, I don't.
Okay. Does the city have any other evidence?
No other evidence, Judge. The city rests.
All right, the city has rested its case, Ms. Cokerson. You can now present your case. You can testify, or if you have any witnesses or documents you'd like to introduce, you can do that at this time.
I don't have documents I'd like to introduce to this. Regarding that, like I said, the last time we were here, I did come to a complete stop, and my car is silver and not white. So I did mention to him that I did come to a complete stop. I was actually, like I said the other time, I was surprised because it's not my first time getting to stop sign. So I was at a complete stop. So I did explain to him, letting him know it was a complete stop. And he said, no, I did not. So he said, I'll have to come explain myself in court and all that. So that's what happened.
Okay. All right. Does the prosecution have any questions?
I do not, Judge.
All right. Ms. Cokerson, you have
Yes.
entered a. Do you rest your case?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Ms. Cokerson, you have entered a not guilty plea to the charge. The charge is a stop sign violation. The court finds, based on the evidence, that she did violate the stop sign violation for the state of Georgia. Can someone tell me, does she have any moving violations within the preceding 5 years?
No, she does not. She has no driver history.
All right, Ms. Cokerson, the fine amount for the stop sign is $200. The moment this is paid, I'm reducing this to a basic rules violation. You have nothing on your record and your record will remain clean. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to pay the $200 within the next 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time to pay?
Yeah, 2 weeks is fine.
All right, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
I just put my email, not my name.
I need your name and your email address, please. If you will put that in the chat, you will receive by close of business tomorrow your plea form to which you would have entered a not guilty plea. And then you will receive your criminal judgment form where you were found guilty. The fine is $200. And because you have an excellent driving record, this charge will become a non-reportable offense. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Once you have typed your name and email address and they've been able to confirm it, send it to FPMC.
Okay.
Ms. Yates, Ms. Yates and Ms. Payton, do you all have it?
I don't have it yet.
Okay.
I just sent it through.
You sent it to FPMC through the chat?
Yeah, Forest Park Municipal Court, yes.
I
Okay.
see it, Your Honor.
Okay, then we do have it, Ms. Cokerson. Thank you, and you can disengage from the call.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Next, looks like it's Eric Council. Is that correct, Mr. Prosecutor?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Council and all witnesses, which I believe is Shantayla Cephas and Cameron Milton. And Officer Richard.
Your Honor, may I be excused? Do you want me to
You
make my
can,
last
Ms.
announcement?
Ida. Thank
You
you.
want me to? You're welcome. I'll see you this afternoon.
All right, do you want to do one final announcement?
Sure. ¿Hay alguna persona que necesite intérprete? Por favor, déjenos saber ahora mismo para poder ayudarlo.
Now, we do have a trial that's going to take place in the courtroom. I don't know if they're going to need interpreting services or not.
I
No, they
don't-
don't. They don't.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. All right.
Thank you. See you this afternoon.
Okay, everyone in the Eric Council matter, Shantayla Cephas and Cameron Milton, if you'll please raise your right hand, along with the officer. Do you swear or affirm? Mr. Counsel, you need to raise your right hand, sir. I can't see it. Thank you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and present the case?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Counsel was cited for improper lane change on September 18th of 2022. This was Officer Richard's case. Officer Richard, on the date in question, did you issue a citation to Mr. Counsel in reference to this particular charge?
Yes, I did.
And are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state the nature of that citation?
Yes, sir. Mr. Counsel was cited for improper lane change when he made a right turn from the left lane, and an oncoming vehicle that was going straight in the right lane struck the rear end of his vehicle.
Okay. And so you received this information because you were dispatched to that location after the accident, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And this was based on the witness interviews that you conducted?
Yes, sir.
Did you observe damage to the vehicle that was struck and or Mr. Counsel's vehicle?
Yes, sir. Both vehicles had damage.
All right. And did you speak to Mr. Counsel also in your investigation?
I did, and he told me that he felt he had the right of way. He looked in his rearview mirror as well as his side mirror, and he didn't see the oncoming vehicle. He was turning behind another vehicle from the left lane, though.
Okay. No further questions for this witness, assigned judge.
Mr. Counsel, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Officer Richard?
Yes, sir. In reference to what the statement she just made is not necessarily valid information. She never asked me about the turn because there was no other vehicle in the
So,
presence.
Mr. Counsel, this is the phase where you ask questions. Do you have a question you'd like to ask, sir?
Sure, I asked a question. Officer Richardson, when you approached the individual that was in question in the incident, what were their state of mind or their awareness of the situation?
Judge, I have
The driver.
I don't think that the officer.
Mr. Counsel, I'm not, when you say when you approach the individual, are you saying when they approached you or when they approached someone else?
When they approached the person who struck me from the rear, what were their state of mind? What were their awareness?
And Judge, I'm going to renew my objection. I don't think that the officer can testify to the person's state of mind.
Yeah.
They can testify to the statements that were given to them, and it's hearsay as long as we have that person.
Sure. So what were their statements?
Mr. Counsel, let the prosecutor finish so I can understand what his objection is so that I can rule on it.
Sure.
So, Mr. Counsel, what I'm going to do is just ask you to rephrase the question. That's not a very good question. Rephrase the question and understand that a police officer cannot testify to someone's state of mind.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Were the people or the driving the vehicle, were they intoxicated?
I was not able to perform field sobriety on either the driver or the passenger due to their injuries and them being taken to Grady Hospital. But I did smell a presence of alcohol in the vehicle, but I didn't see any open containers. And they both stated that they weren't drinking, that they had just left the liquor store and had a bottle of liquor in the trunk.
Your Honor, I would like to present the
Can I
evidence
ask
that
your
I'm.
next question, Mr. Counsel? Well, this is the phase when you ask questions. So when you're presenting your case, you can do all of that, but this is the phase where you're asking questions of the city's witnesses. So
Sure.
do you have any other questions of the police officer?
Yes, sir, I do.
Go ahead.
Officer Richard, that you and your partner did not state that that particular person, both of them were actually intoxicated and in the wind.
No, I never stated that.
You can go ahead and ask your next question, Mr. Counsel.
No further questions, sir.
All right. Does the city have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. The city would like to call Cameron Milton.
All right, Mr. Milton, please acknowledge, remember that you are under oath. Go ahead and ask your questions, Mr. Prosecutor.
Yes.
Mr. Milton, can I get you to do me a favor? Can you take your hat?
Yes, sir.
Remove your hat. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So Mr. Milton, on the date in question, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident with Mr. Counsel as the driver of the other vehicle?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. What's your association with this case then?
I was actually right next to the accident at the gas station. I forgot the name of the road in Forest Park. So I was actually right there when it happened.
Okay, so your vehicle was not involved in the accident?
No.
Okay, all right. And in reference to what you observed, did you give a statement to the police officers?
Yes.
Okay, and in reference to what you observed, can you state to the court how exactly the accident happened from your position?
Okay, I was in the turning lane about to turn into the gas station. And then I noticed that I guess the car next to me was Eric's car. Had his turn signal on and he was trying to, I guess, get over. And then a car struck him and I saw that his car spun around and ran into a post that was on the side of the road on the sidewalk. And then the vehicle that struck him, I guess, went off to the left side of him and went about maybe 100 yards or so down the road. And then after that, I believe a security guard from a package store up the street came over to check on Eric and then drove his vehicle to the other, I guess, people that were in the accident. And then that's when police arrived and we actually were able to go over to the vehicle that was in the accident and take pictures. And then we also saw the guy that I guess was apparently the owner of the vehicle from what the officer said. He had like a white little cloth or cover that had alcohol in it because it seemed to appear that a bottle actually dropped out of it and he picked it up and went back to his vehicle at the gas station.
Okay, so let me just make sure that I understand. I think in your testimony at some point you said that somebody drove Mr. Counsel's car to another location?
No, sir. It was the security guards. I found out later that it was the security guards' vehicle that I guess the person from the package store came over and got the vehicle and drove it over to the other people who were in the accident.
All right, so I'm a bit confused as to this testimony. The security guard observed or came out after the accident at some point, made his way over to where Mr. Counsel and yourself were, correct? You were over there trying to render aid?
No, sir. I just pulled over to just make sure everything was okay. And that's when the security guard came up.
Okay. You were originally in the roadway and you said you observed Mr. Counsel turn on his blinker to turn right. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where were you located in the road?
So I was in the turning lane. I guess it's a little lane that was on the side of the road to go into the gas station.
So you were going to make a right turn into the gas station?
Yes.
You were in the turning lane for the gas station?
I guess it's a turning lane. It's a little lane. I don't know if it's actually like has a turn signal on it. I don't remember that. But it's a lane that like right next to the gas station.
Okay, fair enough. So was Mr. Counsel's vehicle in the lane right next to you, or there was a lane between the two of you?
Before I got into the lane, he was right next to me. Yes.
Okay, all right. And so from the indication that Mr. Council's vehicle had the blinker on, what did you view, what maneuver do you think he was trying to make? He had his blinker on to turn right, but was it
Yes.
into the same gas station that you were going into? Was it a road ahead? What did it appear to you as?
That he was trying to get over, maybe go to the gas station. I don't know at that point because I'm not the driver of that vehicle.
Okay. And you observed the actual accident, correct?
Yes.
Where did the other vehicle come from that made contact with Mr. Council's vehicle?
From the rear of us because we were going straight and they came from behind.
Okay. So when Mr. Council had his blinker on, was he stopped in the roadway or was he traveling?
Slowly moving. He wasn't completely stopped that I remember.
But you don't know, other than coming from behind, you don't know where the other vehicle came from, right? If it turned out of a parking driveway, or can you tell where it came from? Did you see it exit somewhere else?
At that point, no, but I guess Officer Richard and her partner came and brought a video, and it seemed that the car actually was traveling from the same direction that we were traveling from. It was a stoplight right there that you had to pass to get to the gas station. So I guess they were coming from the same direction from the video.
All right, thank you, sir. No further questions.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Counsel, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Milton?
Yes, sir. So
Go ahead.
based upon how the intersections was set up, how many lanes were there? Were there 2 lanes or were there 3 lanes to your recollection, sir?
2 lanes.
And the lane that you in, was that the lane that was going straight, or was it a turn lane that was after a median?
It was going straight, and then I guess it was a lane after a median, the little island, concrete island, that was before the gas station.
Okay, so based upon your memory of the intersection itself, was it physically possible to go in that right lane that you were in prior to going past the median?
No.
No further questions.
All right. Does the city have any other witnesses?
Yes, sir. The city would like to call Chantella Cephas.
All right, Ms. Cephas. Be mindful that you are under oath. The prosecution will have some questions to ask you.
Okay.
Ms. Cephas, on the date in question, have you heard the testimony from 2 individuals? On the date in question, were you in a vehicle that was involved in an accident with Mr. Council?
No, I was the owner of the other vehicle that struck him. I wasn't the driver, but I was the passenger.
Okay, let me back up here, Judge.
Yeah, I got the wrong information. Y'all put the passenger on it and not the driver.
Is the driver of the vehicle that was involved in an accident with Mr. Council present in court?
No, because you guys put my information on her ticket. You have her number and everything, but y'all have my name on her ticket. That's what I was. But I'm the owner of the car.
Cephas,
It's my vehicle.
Cephas, I'm not asking you a question. I'm asking the court a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Is the driver of the other vehicle on this zone?
Yeah, Mr. Prosecutor, I see a name that's written on my docket called Lakeisha Dillard. I don't know who Lakeisha Dillard is, so you probably have to inquire of the officer who was in the respective vehicle.
Lakeisha Dillard was the driver of Ms. Cephas's vehicle.
All right, so Lakeisha Dillard was the operator of Ms. Dillard's vehicle. Lakeisha Dillard is not present today.
All right, Judge, just based on that, and if I had known that when we started this, this could have been done. Because we're on the record, I'm just going to go ahead and state this. Witnesses, although they can give us information as to how the accident occurred, are not the best evidence for the city in reference to parties. The driver, not only the passengers, but the driver of both vehicles involved should be present. And if the driver of the vehicle that was not cited is not present, then the city doesn't have any position to move forward against Mr. Council. I know that
Okay.
we've already sworn everybody in and jeopardy has attached, but even if I continue with Ms. Cephas's testimony, it's still not going to, the scales are still not going to be tipped in the city's favor because the best evidence isn't present, which would be the driver who was driving the other vehicle that was involved in the accident.
So to the extent that we have started the trial, Mr. Prosecutor, the court is going to enter a finding against Mr. Council of not guilty. That will conclude this matter. Mr. Council, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
All right, can we confirm that we have Mr. Council's information?
I don't have it,
All right, Mr. Council, let me have you to provide your email address, sir.
but
My
I
first-
do have his email address. We've corresponded.
Okay, well, then that's all that we need. We will send Mr. Council his plea form where he will enter a not guilty plea, and then we will send him his judgment form showing that he was found not guilty. All right, Mr. Council and witnesses, thank you all. That will conclude this matter. You can disengage from the call.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, the next case that I have is William Gillum. William Gillum, his video is on, but he is not announced, so there will be an FTA for Mr. Gillum. Next, let's go to Yolanda Lope. We'll go to Renee Heaton. I think that case was dismissed for warrant of prosecution. Next will be Yolanda Lopez.
Hi.
Are you at the close?
Yeah, it always closed. You did the opening.
So I think with Yolanda Lopez, you have Delicia Whitaker and Officer Estrada.
Yes, they're all in the courtroom, Your Honor.
All right, can we have everyone to please raise their right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
Yes.
All right, you want to go ahead and call your first witness, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer Estrada, can you come up to the mic?
How you doing?
Good. Officer Estrada, on June, I'm sorry, Your Honor, let me start this over. Judge, on June 7th, 2022, Ms. Lopez was issued a citation for failure to maintain lane. This was an accident. Officer Estrada was the officer who issued the citation. Officer Estrada, on the date in question, do you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Lopez?
Yes, sir, I did.
And was it contact within the city limits of Union City? I'm sorry, Forest Park?
Yes, sir, Forest Park.
All right. Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
So I was dispatched out to the intersection of College and Jonesboro Road on June 7th, 2022 at approximately 2:20 p.m. I was called out there because Ms. Yolanda Lopez and Ms. Delicia Whitaker were involved in an accident. I got a chance to speak to both drivers, and based off their statements and where the damages were at on vehicles, Ms. Yolanda Lopez was cited with improper lane change.
Okay. And you, in your report, I believe you stated that after talking to the driver of vehicle 1, that she indicated that she was making on Jonesboro Road, she was making in the far right outer lane, turning into the left inner lane, and that's when the accident occurred. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. Based off their statements, what Ms. Yolanda told me that day was that she was trying to merge into the inner left lane going southbound on Jonesboro Road. And she said that when she looked in her rearview mirror, she had seen that the lane was clear. But, of course, Ms. Whitaker's vehicle had, sustained some damage due to that improper lane change.
Okay, no further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Lopez, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Officer Estrada?
No, the reason I was turning left,
Well, let me just say, you're gonna get a chance to make a statement, but right now, do you have any questions you'd like to ask him?
no.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you want to call your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor, the city would call Delicia Whitaker.
All right, Ms. Whitaker?
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Whitaker. Ms. Whitaker, on the date in question, were you involved in the motor vehicle accident with Ms. Lopez?
Yes,
And could you state for the court how that accident happened?
she moved over into my lane. I was driving straight in the left lane.
And when she moved over into your lane, were you guys side by side at the time that it happened, or were you approaching the rear part of her vehicle when she moved over?
We were almost side by side.
And you sustained damage to your vehicle, is that correct?
Correct.
Where was that damage located?
On the side passenger door from the front fender to the back fender.
Okay, so it drug all the way down the car.
Mhm.
And were you the one that called the police department in reference to the accident?
No,
But after the accident, you pulled over to the side of the road, or you stayed stationary where you were?
we pulled into the parking lot by the corner store.
And the testimony that you're giving to me today is the same testimony you gave the officer as a statement when you were on the scene?
Correct.
No further questions for this witness, Judge?
Ms. Lopez, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Ms. Whitaker?
No, sir.
All right. Does the city have any other witnesses?
No, the city rests, Judge.
All right, Ms. Lopez, the city has rested. Young lady, if you'd like to tell me what happened, if you have witnesses or documents you'd like to introduce, you can do so at this time.
Well, my mom was the one with me in the car, but she's with my baby right now. She's the one who let me drive because she wasn't feeling well on the behalf of my brother's murder. So she let me drive to my baby's doctor's appointment.
Well, what do you want to tell us about the accident?
So the reason I turned left, because the red car like automatically stopped in front of me. I checked the mirror, like the 3 mirrors before turning left. And I had enough time to pass to left lane. But then I didn't see her when I turned left, because I checked the lane before turning left. And then is when the accident happened. And then I called the police department.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I also took pictures of the damage, just in case if y'all need it.
Okay. And how do you have these pictures? Are they on your phone, or do you have the hard copies of them?
I have the pictures on my phone, but they can be printed.
Well, did you print them?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, only it wasn't much of a distance when my mom let me drive. It was from the mobile gas station in from the same road.
Okay.
And it was
All right.
overhead where the accident it happened.
Okay. All right. Does the prosecution have any questions?
No questions.
All right. Ms. Lopez, do you rest your case?
Yes, sir.
All right. Both sides have rested their case based on the evidence that's been presented. Ms. Lopez, the court does find you guilty of the offense of improper lane change. The fine amount is $175. Can someone tell me if Ms. Lopez has had any moving violations in the last 5 years?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Lopez, the court has found you guilty of the violation. Are you able to pay the $175 within the next 2 weeks?
Can I pay it today?
You can pay it today. They will direct you to the clerk's office. They will provide you with your plea form where you will enter a not guilty plea. And then you can go to the clerk's office and pay the sum of $175. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Whitaker. Thank you, Officer Estrada. Next is Jerry Marcelin.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and Officer Johnson.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let me have everyone that's going to testify to please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and present the case?
Yes, Your Honor. Judge, on September 30th of 2022, Ms. Marcelin received a citation for failure to obey traffic control device. This citation was issued by Officer Johnson. On the date in question, you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Marcelin.
Yes, sir.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
And are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
On that day around 4 p.m., I was traveling southbound Jonesboro Road, coming up on the entryway to Fort Gillum at Metcalf and Jonesboro Road. And as I was traveling down, I witnessed Mr. Jerry making a left turn onto Jonesboro Road from Metcalf. And there's clearly a sign that says no left turn at that intersection.
Okay. And so at some point you got behind Ms. Marcelin and you pulled him over, is that correct?
Correct.
And you explained to him why you were stopping him, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did he make any statements to you that you can recall?
That I can recall, I remember him saying that he did not see the sign.
Okay. Nothing further for this witness at this time, Judge?
All right, Mr. Marcelin, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Officer Johnson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Do you remember or do you know that the sign was removed for a couple of months prior to that?
No, as long as I've been back on duty for military leave, that sign has been up there.
Do you have any other questions, sir?
No, sir.
All right, does the city have any other evidence?
No, Your Honor, city rests.
All right, Mr. Marcelin, the city has rested. Is there any evidence you'd like to introduce, sir? Your sworn testimony, the testimony of witnesses, or any documents that you want to introduce?
I do not have any document, but I'm not sure if there was work ongoing on that side coming from Fort Gillum to Jonesboro, but the sign was removed for a couple of months. The no left turn on Jonesboro was removed for a couple of months, and I was not aware that it was back when I made that left turn.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say, sir?
I don't normally go that way to go home. I was going to the tire shop to get my tire fixed. I go the other way to go home. I was not aware that the sign was back, and I did not see it when I made that left turn.
All right. Does the city have any questions?
No questions for this witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Marcelin, do you rest your case?
Yes, y'all.
All right. The court has heard the testimony of Officer Johnson as well as you, Mr. Marcelin. Based on the evidence presented, the court does find you guilty of the violation. The fine amount is $175. Sir, are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time to pay it?
I can pay it in 2 weeks.
All right. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
Can we confirm that we have Mr. Marcelin's information?
Yes, we have it.
All right, Mr. Marcelin, you will receive your plea form through your email by close of business tomorrow. Enter a not guilty plea, and then you will receive your 2-week agreement. You have been found guilty of this violation. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, you can disengage from the call. Officer Johnson, unless you have another matter, you can disengage as well, and thank you both.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
Judge
Mr.
Freeman,
yes,
can Officer Green be dismissed?
yes. If she has no cases, absolutely.
Thank you.
The next trial would be Lalani Narali
Yes, sir.
and the witness. Ms. Laura Murray, if you will please. Now, it looks like Ms. Murray may be a witness for Mr. Narali, or is she a witness? Was this in that car accident, Mr. Prosecutor, or do you know?
Judge, it does look like, it appears that it was an accident.
All right, what is Miss Murray, were you driver of the other car, or were you just a witness to the incident?
I was a witness to the incident.
Okay. You were not the driver of the other vehicle, is that correct?
No.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, what is your pleasure regarding this matter?
So Judge, the other driver would have been Keanu Lee, and I do not believe that they logged onto this Zoom.
That is correct.
If Keanu Lee is not present, the city would move to dismiss for warrant prosecution.
All right, Mr. Narali, this case is being dismissed for warrant of prosecution. Do you understand that, sir?
Oh, yes, sir.
Again, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Okay. Yes, sir. I already typed the email address and.
All right, do we have his email information?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Narali, you will receive your not plea form, enter a not guilty plea, and thereafter you will receive your dismissal without prejudice, sir. Sir, you can disengage, and Ms. Murray, you can disengage as well from the call. Thank you both. Officer Richard, thank you as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
You have a blessed day.
The next case is Vanessa Sagara and Officer I. Ellis. Everyone that's going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand. Mr. Officer Ellis, if you'll please turn your video on. All right, everyone that's going to testify, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and present the case?
Yes, Judge. Ms. Sagara is before the court because on September 25th of 2022, she received a citation for a vicious dog or other animal, and it looks like there was an incident where a dog that she was purported to be the owner of actually bit an Amazon driver. That's the allegation anyway. The Officer Ellis issued those citations. Officer Ellis, on the date in question, do you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Sagara?
Yes.
And was that
Hold on.
contact within the city?
Cigar, that is the owner of the dog, right?
Correct. Vanessa
No,
Guadalupe
I came in
Sagara.
contact over the phone.
Okay. You issued the citation. It looks like somebody. Okay, so there, I'm sorry, in the signature portion of the citation, it says owner not known or not named. Okay. In any event, you ended up issuing a citation that for the owner of the dog that turned out to be Ms. Sagara, to the best of your knowledge. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. You never actually made contact with Ms. Sagara.
Not in person, no.
Can you briefly state why you issued that citation?
I was called because we got a report of a person being bit by a dog, and they was trying to deliver a package. When I arrived on scene, I made contact with the Amazon driver. He showed me the injury to his leg that was consistent with a dog bite. So I contacted EMS, and they came and they patched him up. And he stated that the dogs give him problems whenever he comes to that house, and they reside at that house.
Okay, so let me back up, Officer. In regards to the reason why Ms. Cigar ended up on the citations is because you tracked down the information of the resident of the home and
Yes,
for the owner of the dog back to Ms. Cigar. Is that correct?
yes, she was the owner of the house and the dogs reside at that house.
Okay, all right. And so you issued the citation based on the testimony of the Amazon driver, your observation of an injury that seemed to be consistent with a dog bite. You're at the location where the Amazon driver indicated that the dog bite occurred and determined that Ms. Cigar was either the owner of the dog and or the person that resides in the property that is subject to this incident. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, no further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Cigar, do you have any questions you want to ask the officer? He's testifying that he did not see what happened and that the person that was bitten was an Amazon driver.
Yes, I do. I would. Oh,
So
go
do
ahead.
you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
Yes, I would like to ask, how did he make the determination that the dogs were mine and not just in the neighborhood?
Okay.
Okay, I can answer now.
Yes.
All right, I made that determination because it was I don't remember the guy's name, but it was a Hispanic fellow that was at the house. I attempted to make contact. He ignored it first, and he stated that the dogs did live there, and that I noticed the dogs kept taking refuge on the porch. And then when I tried to get them with animal control, they kept running to the backyard.
So do you have any other questions, Mr. Cigar?
My second question would be, the Hispanic person that he spoke to does not speak English. So how did he make a determination with that person without an interpreter?
I lived in Spain for a few years, so I know a little bit of Spanish. Also, he spoke broken English, so we was able to know enough of the language separately to be able to determine that we could communicate with each other.
Ms. Cigar, do you have any other questions?
No further questions. I just have testimony, sir.
All right. Does the city have any other evidence?
No further evidence, Judge. The city rests.
All right, the city is rest. Ms. Cigar, you have the right to present evidence if there are witnesses or if there are documents you'd like to introduce, you can do so at this time.
Okay, Your Honor. So I was not physically home at the time that I received a call. The reason I received the call from the gentleman was because he does not speak English and he did not understand what the officers wanted. So when I got the call, it was basically for him to put the officer on the phone and for me to see what is going on. Secondly, the dogs did not belong to me. Those are just dogs that roam the neighborhood. I would say that the reason they are on the porch is because I am an owner of a cat. So we have cat food out. So they do come and eat the food. Every time I do step out, I shoo the dogs away. They're not my dogs. That's why when I spoke to them over the phone, I said, you all can take those dogs because they do not belong to me. And the question that was raised to me is why I did not call animal control. And I informed them that it's not my duty to call animal control. Those aren't my dogs. I shoo them away every time. They're across the street, all over this street. So I'm an owner of cats, not dogs. And the only reason I got the call was because the gentleman did not understand. So that's how he got my name. And I reside here, but I'm not even the owner of the residence.
Who was the gentleman that you said that doesn't speak English?
He used to live down the street. He sits in our yard to get better reception.
All right.
So that he called me because he didn't understand what was going on. And because I speak Spanish and English, he called me and that's how he put me on the phone with the officer. But I was not here. I told them that they can go ahead and remove those dogs because they are a nuisance, but they're not my dogs.
Okay. Does the city have any questions?
So Ms. Cigar, you're stating that you don't own any pets and no pets are, according to you, where you reside. No, and I should go back. You said you own cats.
Yes, I own cats. Yes.
Yes. But the dogs in question in this particular case did not reside at that location.
Right, because they're not my dogs.
But the gentleman that was at the location did not reside at that location.
No, he called me because he didn't understand what the officer was saying.
Right. but I'm asking you in reference to his residence. His residence, he didn't live in the same place where you live, correct?
No, he does.
He does.
Now, yes,
He didn't back then.
that is correct.
So why would he tell those dogs were at that location because that's where they reside?
Well, I'm not sure what he told the officers because I was not present. When he called me, he said the officers were there and he didn't understand what was going on. So that's when I got on the phone with the officers. That's why my question earlier was to him, if the gentleman does not speak proper English or enough to understand, how did he make that determination? I was only called into the picture because he didn't understand what was going on. And when I arrived home, I see citations on the door.
So what if you're saying is accurate though, what wouldn't you have brought the gentleman on to testify to that?
I mean, I didn't see a need to.
May I interject?
Not.
Hold 1 second, let the prosecutor finish up, and then if he wants to call you for redirect.
I don't have any more questions for Mr. Guard, Judge. I would like to call Officer Ellis.
All right, Mr. Gar, is there any other evidence you'd like to introduce?
No, that is all, sir.
All right. Does the city have additional witnesses it wants to call?
Well, I'd like to recall Officer Ellis just for him to clarify testimony that was given by Mr. Gara. Officer Ellis, and you heard Mr. Gara testify in reference to the gentleman that was on the scene that you spoke to, and I know you heard the questions about how you can communicate with him, and you gave your answer, your response to that. Did the gentleman that was there give you the indication that he resided at that location?
Yes, he said he did live there, in fact. Another thing, another indication that I knew the dogs was out there, and the dogs responded to him. They were not afraid to go around him as opposed to me and animal control.
Okay.
And when he called them, they answered.
And so while you were on the scene, was there a time where the dogs went away to some other place?
No, they would run away, but they would never physically leave the property. They would, if I'm searching for them in the porch, they would run to, they had a gate, and I wouldn't go inside the gate without permission of the guy that was there. But whenever they went back there, they would seek refuge there. They would never actually leave the property.
Okay, and in reference to the property, was the property fenced in?
No, only a portion of it.
Okay, and when you say there was a gate, the gate led to what?
The side of the house and most of the backyard.
Okay, but the gate was not attached to any kind of enclosure.
It's an enclosure, but the dogs are able to get out of there.
Okay, so the dogs have access, ingress and exit anytime that they want.
Yeah, they simply crawl up under the gate.
All right. No further questions, Judge.
Mr. Gar, do you have any additional questions you'd like to ask Officer Ellis?
It's not technically it's what the prosecutor said. Well, no, not the prosecutor, but the officer said that the dogs would not run.
Yeah, do you have any other questions? I'm gonna give you a chance to make a statement, but do you have any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, now I'm gonna let you have final statement. What would you like to say?
Okay, so the officer stated that the dogs would not run away from him. I mean, the dogs wouldn't run away from anyone. We would shoo them, have to get a broom, and then they would leave. But to say that the dogs were not running away from a person, they wouldn't run away from anyone. They were seen up at the small apartment complex up front. People would be over there petting them as well, and they wouldn't run. Sometimes when I would be arriving home from work, they'd be down the street, other people petting them as well, and no one, I mean, the dogs didn't run away. So I'm still saying, how was it determined that those dogs were mine? Like I said, I was not home. I only got the call because the gentleman did not speak English and did not understand what was going on. So he saw officers and doesn't want to, get in trouble, didn't understand. So that's how I got the call. And then I come home and then there's citations on my door.
And let me ask you this, Mr. Gar, the gentleman that you're saying doesn't speak English, is he close by?
He's not. He's at work right now.
Okay. And what is his name?
I think it's Juan.
And he's living with you now?
Yes.
Okay, and how long has he been living with you?
Towards December, because he was renting a room down the street, like about 4 houses down. So, you know, he's a friend of ours, he's a friend of them. So he down, you know, up and down the street, basically.
What is his whole name?
I don't know his last name.
He's living with you and you don't know his full name?
I don't know his last name. I mean, like I said, I didn't rent the room out to him, so it's not my business. I just know him by his first name.
Are you the tenant for this property?
What do you mean tenant?
Are you renting? Do you live there?
Yeah, I live here. This is my family's house.
It's your family house?
Yes.
Okay. And who else lives there?
My mother, my father, all my sisters.
Okay. And you're saying either your mother, your father, one of your sisters has rented a room to him?
Well, this is my parents' house, so it would be my parents.
So your parents rented a room to him?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I said I don't know his last name. I just say good morning, good afternoon. I don't have contact like that with him unless he needs help, you know, interpretation or maybe connecting to the Wi-Fi. But that's why it sounds a little weird, but I don't know his last name because I don't have direct contact with him.
Okay. All right. Does the prosecution have any additional questions?
No questions, Judge.
All right, Ms. Segar, you've entered a not guilty plea to vicious dog, muzzled, and biting dogs and cats. So there's a couple of things here going on. Do we know the identity of the Amazon driver and any damages he or she may have sustained? Go ahead, Officer Ellis.
Yes, all of his information is in the report.
Okay. All right.
And as far as the extension of damages, it's also in there.
Okay.
Injuries.
I think we need to get the victim here, Mr. Prosecutor, or at least give him an opportunity to come here and testify. So what I'm going to do is continue this case. I'd like to get the victim subpoenaed. I'd also like to get Juan involved. And Ms. Segarra, I need Juan's last name.
Okay, I'll have to find that out for you.
Can you call your parents right now and ask for his last name?
Is it okay if I turn my camera off? I can go in.
That's fine. I just want his last name.
Okay.
And let's just have both of them on the next hearing. And we'll make sure that we have Ms. Ida. Do we have Ms. Segarra's email information? Ms. Yates and Ms. Payton, do we have her email information?
Yes, we have it.
Okay, so we're going to continue this case for us to get Juan, whatever his last name is, and to subpoena the victim. So we're going to continue this trial for their testimony. Officer Ellis, you'll be notified of the next court date. They have your information, so you can disengage. We're going to continue this to subpoena those two.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, sir, thank you. You can disengage. What we can do now is just proceed with Alexis Smedley and come back to the Vanessa Segarra matter. And for Ms. Smedley, it's Officer Taylor. Is Officer S. Taylor available?
Taylor was a no-show, Your Honor.
All right. Does the city have an announcement in the Smedley matter?
Yes, Your Honor, the city would move to dismiss for want of prosecution.
All right. Ms. Smedley, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, I have, but I did have to get back on, so I'm not sure if you guys got it in there.
All right, do we have Ms. Smedley's email address?
Yes, we
Your
have
Honor,
it.
we
All right,
do.
Ms. Smedley, this case is being dismissed for want of prosecution. By tomorrow, close of business, you will receive your plea form to which you will enter a not guilty plea. And then subsequent to that, you will receive a copy of the dismissal of this case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can disengage from the call. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Ms. Segar, you were gonna get Juan's last name?
Your Honor, I just asked my father. He said he's not exactly sure. He just calls him Juan.
Well, we need his last name, okay? So we can subpoena him. So you can either make him available for the next court date.
Uh-huh.
All right, or you need to provide that information to the city. I'm gonna ask you to have that information to the city no later than Monday or Tuesday. Somebody in your household should know this person's last name. If not, you can ask him his last name.
Where would I be sending it to? Hold on, let me get it. Once I get it, where would I be sending this information to?
So I think that they will communicate with you through your email and tell you where to send it to. Have you typed your, I think that we have Ms. Segar's email address.
Yes, I typed it in the chat.
Ms. Yates and Ms. Payton, do we have that?
Yes.
All right, so let's forward to Ms. Segar the address that we want her to send Mr. Juan's information to,
Okay.
so that we can subpoena him for the next court date. All right, Ms. Segar, this case will be continued to get the victim of the dog bite as well as Mr. Juan available, and we will have interpreting services for him.
Okay.
All right, so you can disengage from the call. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor, I have two individuals in here with me that we need to address. Mr.
When you say I
Raleigh,
need to address, they came later, they were here at 8 o'clock.
well, Mr. Raleigh was listed as FTA. He came in at 9:03.
Okay, so he is late. What is his plea?
He's coming now.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Mr. Rowley, what is your plea to this charge?
Not guilty.
All right, Ms. Eaglin was available and FTA will be issued. You are late. There will be a $50 late fee and we will reset your court date for another day.
Okay.
So let's reset his court date. The witness was here. And please note, there's a $50 late fee. Who is the next person, Ms. Green?
Hold on, sir. Sir, can you come up? Your Honor, we have Mr. What was your name again? I'm sorry. Mr. Brooks. He is actually on the 1 o'clock docket, but he had to catch a bus here. Mr. Roderick Brooks on the 1 o'clock docket, expired or no license plate and driving without suspended license.
And what is his plea to the charge?
Guilty.
All right, so what are the two charges?
It is expired or no license plate or decal and driving while license suspended or revoked.
And can you tell me if that's the first or the second time or the third time?
I will have to check that. Hold on.
Okay, I need to know that before.
Stand by.
Excuse me?
They're checking for me.
Okay. If we can he can just have a seat until we pull his paperwork. What do we look like this afternoon?
We have a total so far of 72.
Okay. That sounds like a small enough number.
Yeah, probably a little smaller because we've had a couple of people pay.
Judge, I'll probably know before I end up going to Union City.
I'm sorry, Andreas, what did you say?
I said I'll probably know before I end up going to Union City at 11 o'clock, but I have a hearing in Hall County at 1 o'clock.
Okay, I'll take care of 1 o'clock, man.
Well, that might be postponed because I just got a message that my client is ill. I may not be able to attend, but I don't know if the judge is still gonna make me show up.
Okay,
And Judge Freeman,
yes.
it looks like this is the first time he has been charged with both of these charges. Sorry.
Is he eligible for a no-vote plea?
He is
All right, and what is his name?
Roderick Brooks.
All right, Mr. Brooks?
He's
Ms.
coming.
Green, if you'll let him know he's eligible for a no-vote plea if he'd like to enter it. Mr. Brooks, the no-vote plea will keep your license from going into suspension. Would you prefer to enter a no-vote plea, or do you want to stick by your guilty plea?
Yes, I prefer the no-low police, sir, because I drive for a living.
All right, sir, do you understand that by entering into the no-vote plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, I am.
And sir, do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the plea?
Yes, sir.
Sir, the court will accept your no-vote plea to the tag charge and driving on suspended license. The
Yes,
fine
sir.
amount is $935. Do you understand that?
How much?
$935.
$935.
Yes, sir.
How much time would I have to pay that?
Well, if you cannot pay it in 2 weeks, you'll be placed on probation and you can pay it over the term of your probation, which you will have up to 20 months to pay this.
Well, I'm gonna pay 700 of it today.
Well, you can pay that to probation, and if you can pay the other amount before the 29th day, your probation can end. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Brooks, you will be placed on probation for 12 months. You will be placed on pay-only probation. If you pay the full amount by the 29th day, your probation will end automatically, and you will not have to pay any monthly supervision fees. But if it is not paid by the 29th day, you will have to start paying monthly supervision fees. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Because it is pay-only probation, your probation fees will be capped at 3 months. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions, sir?
Only what do I need to report to pay this money?
They're gonna give you a plea form today to which you will enter a no-low plea, and they're gonna provide you with all the information that you will need to contact probation
Yes, sir.
before you leave the courtroom. You have any other questions?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Green, that'll do it?
That's it for me.
Okay. Ms. Yates, Ms. Payne?